happening. So that last weekend, Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, buddy, Francis Ngannou spanked that boy. That I did not see coming. Ah, man, who would have thought that came like that, bro? What can I say? A lot of people are saying, "Hey, the sport of boxing is not as refined as we thought it is." The sweet science is not so sweet of a science if a guy with zero fights can come into your arena and beat you with zero boxing experience. No other sport will you see that happen, right? But Francis Ngannou is for real, man. Like you're not gonna see Tyson Fury or any boxer for that matter come into the UFC and beat one of the top guys. Now I know Fury won the fight, but realistically, he got spanked. I watched that fight again. I don't care what Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell say. They both scored the fight for Fury. They might, because they're giving what they're doing. They're giving those super close rounds that it could have gone either way. They're going to give those to Fury. And I don't agree with those because, in my opinion, I thought Ngannou was controlling the ring. There's a lot of it's called ring generalship in boxing, and I thought Francis was dominating that knockdown. Man, Francis Ngannou, he is insane, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Dana's going to be mad." No, man, I think because you got to realize without that happening, no one would have really known that Francis could do that. Everyone's like, "Oh, Fury was going to smoke him." Blah blah blah. But now after that fight with Fury, now Francis's stock is through the roof. And if you're Francis Ngannou, you're gonna take that fight with Wilder, Joshua, because why go back to MMA? The money is too good, and you're not taking as much damage. It's easier training. But yeah, no other sport will you able to see that. I truly believe that boxing is not as refined as a lot of some people think it is. A lot of people, oh, like how is Jake Paul going in there and you know, first of all, Jake Paul has never beat anyone he's never beat a fighter under the age of 40, right? So you're not beating fighters in their 20s, you're not beating fighters in their 30s, and you're beating fighters in their 40s. I could go out and beat Michael Jordan in his late 40s or 50s, but does that make me better than Michael Jordan? No, he's way past his prime, right? So these Paul guys, Paul brothers, they're great at, picking and choosing their opponents. And the only fighter he has fought, I think, under in his 20s was Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury whooped his ass. And, Tommy Fury didn't look good his last fight either against a YouTuber. I'm trying to tell you, these guys, boxing is not as refined. You're not going to see anyone go and beat Gordon Ryan with no grappling experience. It's just not happening. Impossible. No way you're going to get someone with zero grappling experience going to go into a jiu-jitsu match and beat Gordon Ryan or even look decent. He's going to get subbed under 30 seconds real quick. Crazy, man. That is insane. Good for Ngannou, though. He's going to get that check. Now we got this weekend, Jalton Almeida taking on Derek 50-50 Lewis. Now he has been looking better shape than usual, but man, they're doing Derek Lewis dirty. So before I start, if you guys need a place to bet this weekend, BetUS promo code Iceman. You already know. Let's make that money. So Jalton Almeida taking on Derek Lewis. So I tell you guys before, I don't like betting heavyweight fights. Not big, at least. Anything can happen. One punch can change everything. But they are doing Derek Lewis really dirty in this fight. He just signed a new contract. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe they're like, hey, we don't want this guy to keep winning. He's going to ask for more money. But one thing Derek Lewis doesn't have is takedown defense. His takedown defense sucks. His takedown defense is an uppercut, right? He's trying to land a shot when you're level changing and shooting it, just like what happened with Curtis Blades. Well timed. The problem is this fight's taking place in Brazil. You're fighting a crazy jiu-jitsu guy who's undefeated in the UFC, Jalton Almeida. He's on a roll. I believe he hasn't lost since 2018. And he's going to completely steamroll Derek Lewis, take him down, and easy submission, arm triangle, RNCs. He's got great RNCs. I think he's just going to completely dominate Derek Lewis. But yeah, they're doing him dirty. In Brazil, too, it's going to be hard to beat these Brazilians in Brazil. Up next, you got the Bonfim brothers. Gabriel Bonfim taking on Nicholas Dalby. Now, I like Nicholas Dalby. He's a great fighter. The Danish dynamite or whatever. But, he's coming off 3 straight wins. That last one over Muslim Salikov was actually impressive. But now you're going to Brazil and you're fighting undefeated Gabriel Bonfim. Dude, Bonfim's going to spank him, you know. And Nicholas Dalby lost not too long ago, a year or two ago to Tim Means. Not too impressive. So I'll go with Gabriel Bonfim all day on that one. And up next, Rodrigo Nascimento taking on Dontel Mays. I got to go with the Brazilian on this one. In Brazil, I know he lost to that Chris Dawkins guy 3 years ago, but he's coming off he's coming off 2 split decision wins over Ilir Latifi and Tanner Bozer. Not too impressive. Dontel Mays, on the other hand, coming off, a big win over Andrei Arlovsky. Believe it or not, don't look at their records on this one, because you see his record, you're like 10 wins, 5 losses. The other guy's 11-1. You're like, oh, this guy, Brazilian, should smoke him, right? But don't look at that for this one, because Dontel Mays has fought some good guys. Just unfortunate with the record. Yeah, you got to. I'm sort of leaning towards Dontel Mays on this one. I'll go with the underdog, Dontel Mays. Look at the height advantage too, big height advantage. Oh, this is my guy, Chabala. You don't fuck with Chabala. This guy is for real. I've been betting on him since the first day he came into the UFC. His first fight, I told you, certain guys, I'm riding the wave until they lose. Chabala, one of those guys. Muhammad Makayev, Hamzat, we're riding the wave until they lose. Shavkat Rakhmonov. I bet these guys since their first fights in the UFC, and I will continue to put them on my parlay until they do me wrong. And I'll tell you right now, Chabala, since his fight with Gadzi, dude, he's been winning every single fight I've taken this guy. So why would I bet against him? I'm going to put him on every parlay until he loses for me. And this Magomedov guy, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He had a great fight with the champ, Sean Strickland. But now you're going to go to Brazil, fight Chabala. And one thing, these Bahalo, he can strike. He's got that crazy karate stance, and he's got wicked, wicked ground game. Great takedowns. Chabala is going to completely crush Magomedov, in my opinion. I'd be very surprised if Chabala loses this fight. But Magomedov comes out hard in that first round. He comes out hard. He does dig deep to the body, hits hard. But I think Chabala, with the grappling, he's going to be able to stuff that and just completely dominate Abis Magomedov and should easily get this done. Now, this is interesting. This is your classic striker versus grappler matchup. So, Rodolfo Vieira, if you guys don't know Rodolfo Vieira, jiu-jitsu legend. He's fought everybody who's who in the name in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Won worlds multiple time world champion. Gi, mostly in the gi, but he's got some big wins in no gi as well. The jiu-jitsu phenom is now taking on Armen Petrosyan. If you guys don't know Armen Petrosyan, he is the brother of the legendary Giorgio Petrosyan, who's one of the best K1 kickboxing legends, glory, just heavy-duty kickboxers. And Armen Petrosyan's got a lot of kickboxing fights, but unfortunately, his takedown defense is decent. But now you're fighting Adolfo Vieira, and it's in Brazil. And I got to go with the grappler. Usually, striker grappler matchups, I tend to lean towards the grappler because, they can sort of dictate where the fight takes place. And, Armen Petrosyan also fought Chabala, and Chabala just dominated him on the ground, right? Took him down every round, just dominated top position. And Adolfo Vieira, seen that, follow the game plan, and it should be pretty easy for Adolfo Vieira, in my opinion, if he gets this fight to the ground. Now, he does have a problem with his gas tank. He's sort of like a Hamza, it comes out super hard, aggressive, but after that second round, he starts to die down. But I think, it's only 3 rounds in Brazil. I think I gotta go with Adolfo Vieira. Even odds on my website, he was actually slight underdog, which is interesting. Now Ismail Bonfim taking on Vince Pichel. Dude, Vince Pichel is still doing the damn thing. Age 40, that's an issue. Age 40, taking on 27-year-old Bonfim in Brazil. That's a tough task. And not only that, Bonfim is coming off a loss to Benoit Saint Denis. He's angry. He was on a big win streak before that, and he lost, getting rear naked choked, the Brazilian getting submitted. He's going to take that real personal, and unfortunately for Vince Pichel, he's going to get dominated, in my opinion. I mean, he does have a problem sometimes with the grapplers. Look at Mark Madsen, his last fight, you know, Olympic wrestler, gave him some tough times, and I think Bonfim is going to take out Vince Pichel. UFC is going to really want Bonfim brothers to win. These guys are exciting. It makes no sense for them to match him up with someone who's going to just completely destroy him. So I think this match is completely tailored toward the Bonfim brothers. They should definitely win in Brazil, both of them. Now, the only Brazilian they're not giving a favor to is Zaleski dos Santos. He's fighting Hanat Fakhretdinov. Fakhretdinov, man, that's the guy they gave um, Kevin Lee to, and Kevin Lee he murked Kevin Lee in the first round, and then out of the UFC he's gone. Boom, that just completely destroyed the return of Kevin Lee. Tough matchup too. You're fighting a guy who's 22-2. That's a good record, man. Hasn't lost since 2014, almost 10 years. He's undefeated in almost 10 years. Dude, you got to go with Hanat Fakhretdinov, man. He's these Russians. They're on some next levels super sauce. I got to go with Hanat Fakhretdinov on that one. A good person to add on to your bet. Victor Hugo taking on Daniel Marcos, and I'm not talking about the heavyweight jiu-jitsu Victor Hugo. This is Victor Striker Hugo, and he does have a good jiu-jitsu game himself, coming off a couple submission wins, undefeated since 2014 as well. Almost 10 years he's undefeated. Now he's taking on Daniel Marcos, fighting out of Peru. Not too many fighters coming out of Peru. And coming off a split decision win over Davy Grant, this one can go either way. I'm gonna go with the over on this one, over 1.5. I see that one going over for sure. Vitor Petrino taking on Modestus Bukauskas. I gotta go with the Brazilians, man. When they put on these cards in Brazil, you notice a lot of these Brazilians tend to win. It's like they know they're matching them accordingly, and why wouldn't you? So coming off a big win over Marcin Prachnio is Vitor Petrino. Haven't really seen too much of him. He's only had 2 fights in the UFC, one on the Contender Series. Now he's taking on Modestus Bukauskas, the Lithuanian, and he's coming off 4 straight wins himself. One of them was actually over Tyson Pedro, which is impressive, but I'm sort of leaning towards Vitor Petrino on this one, so I'll go with the Brazilian. And the last one I'm going to touch on is the one they're hiding in the beginning, Mark Jacasey. Not a bad person to put on your parlay. Mark Jacasey, I know he's been doing not too good, right? He's coming off 2 straight losses, but those are 2 pretty decent guys, Joel Alvarez, Michael Johnson, Michael 50-50 Johnson. He's either on or he's off. The thing is, this guy he's fighting, Cal Fernandez, he's never fought in the UFC before. Your first fight in the UFC, in Brazil, and you're fighting Mark Jacasey. Mark Jacasey has ton of experience in the UFC, bro. He's been fighting in the UFC since 2016. Yeah, that's a long time. That's 7 years in the UFC, fighting top guys, big names. You got to go with the experience. The fact that he's only minus 140 here, they must think this Fernandez guy is really good, because like I said, I haven't seen him fight. It's his first fight in UFC. I haven't seen him fight, and you're taking on Mark Jacasey, and he's only plus 120. I'm assuming, do they think that, hey, Mark Jacasey, just because he's coming up 2 straight losses, not looking so good? But man, his experience is quite significant over Fernandez. So I got to go with Jacasey on that one. But yeah, those are your picks. Not a bad card. I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of finishes on this card, including the main event. Jailton Almeida. I gotta go. This guy's gonna submit Derek Lewis, and they're doing Derek Lewis dirty, man. But yeah, BetUS promo code Iceman. I'm gonna post my pick here, parlaying Chabala with the Bonfim brothers. I'm gotta go with the Brazilians. Easy double up. I'm taking it. Coming off that big win from last UFC. I told you guys, bro. Hamzat parlayed with Muhammad Makayev and Islam Makhachev, bro. Those, if you're Russian from Dagestan and your name ends in EV, take it. Take it. I'll take it. Undefeated. No, it's these Russians are on some next level of sauce, but yeah, man. I'm out of here. Out.